Friends helped me get over my wife's cheating. It all started with a Christmas party at our work. My wife and I work for the same electronics manufacturing firm, but in very different positions. Jennifer is the Director of Human Resources and a board member. I'm Bill, and work at a lower-level leading line maintenance teams. We met 17 years ago. It was Jennifer who told me about the position she was working in. We have both been promoted over the years, but Jennifer really excelled. She was bright, worked hard and deserved it, and I couldn't be more proud of her. The firm's Christmas party was held for the first time at a local resort hotel. The board members had access to several suites and a common room at the resort, so Jennifer went at noon to join her senior colleagues. I, along with the rest of the staff, joined the main party at 7 p.m. We all joked that the minions were let in for a few hours, even if we had to dress up in costumes to do so. It was quite a while before I finally spotted Jennifer, and I have to say, biased or not, she looked absolutely stunning. Once again, I marveled at her beauty. She was just turning 38, her long blonde hair curled into ringlets that framed her bright blue eyes and perpetually smiling pretty face. She must have bought a new dress and seemed to shimmer in subtle silver elegance. I also noticed a new necklace that looked expensive. Heck, I needed to reconsider the Christmas present I'd bought that morning. She was chatting with the senior team, and before I could speak to her, we were asked to take our seats at the formal dinner. From a distance, I could see that she was sitting next to the new CEO, Richard Jenkins. The previous owner had recently stepped down from that position to semi-retire as chairman of the board. I had to admit he's a handsome guy, and was a little concerned that Jennifer was smiling and laughing all the time. I settled in for a meal with the other team leaders. They were all good friends of mine that I had worked with for many years. I don't mean to brag, but we knew our stuff and kept our workload high despite the outdated equipment that the company didn't seem to want to replace. Dinner was fine, and the drinks helped everyone have a good time, despite being prohibitively expensive in a swanky establishment. After dinner was over, I tried to meet Jennifer again, but I was unsuccessful. When I finally sought her out, she quickly left, saying she needed to socialize. Later, I saw her dancing with the executive director, and it started to annoy me. By the time she deigned to talk to me, it was 10 p.m. and I was not happy. My mood didn't improve when she announced that the executives were going back to their living room so the employees could have some quiet fun without the managers watching. I could tell she was uncomfortable. Really? I had to watch you hit on another guy all night, and now you're leaving. Who did you buy that dress for, Jennifer? I've never seen this dress before. I must say, it's very sexy. And the necklace is wonderful. It looks so expensive. I didn't buy... She stopped, realizing her mistake. She bit her lip and continued quietly. It was a gift. No need to ask who from. Do you think it's appropriate for your boss to buy you an expensive necklace? He's bought everyone gifts. He's very generous, and he thought it would be perfect for me. So he said he had to buy it. He has good taste. You have to hand it to him. Perhaps I should ask him about choosing gifts for my wife. I could see her panicking a little. You can't. It's a private party, and you're drunk. We can't have you causing trouble. I'm not drunk, and we already have problems. How private is this party, Jennifer? Are all the executives there, or just you and Jenkins? She blushed and looked embarrassed, but then recovered and went on the attack. How dare you suggest something inappropriate between me and Richard? I noticed that she didn't completely deny it. I tried to calm down and find a softer approach. Look, Jen, why don't we go home together and sort all this out? I can't, Bill. The entire management team is expected in the living room. I think Richard has plans for the team, awards and speeches. I bet he has plans. And when do you get the urge to come back? I don't know. Probably later, or we'll all be using the suites. If the party goes late, I might stay the night. At that moment, I lost control of myself. Oh, you can do it, and we'll be done. She quickly became enraged, yelled something about me not controlling her, and ran off. I watched as she joined a small group of managers and left. Devastated was an understatement. Maybe I was a little hasty, but she was that out of control. I walked back to the party in a daze and plopped into my seat. Before I knew it, I was recounting the story of my grief to my best friend Dan, and soon the others at the table recognized my version of events. They were all very supportive and decided that the obvious answer to my dilemma was to get drunk as hell. A little more time passed, and people from other tables started approaching me offering sympathy. I asked Dan what was going on, and in response, he showed me a social media page on his phone. He posted a picture of us drinking beer with the caption, "Went from Christmas party to sympathy party. You great guy come cheating wife." Obviously, the post had generated comments, and now, being definitely drunk by now, my stupefied brain thought the post was a bad idea and should be deleted. Just at that moment, a gorgeous lady from the payroll department came up to me, gently touched my arm, and said something about the CEO having a form for that. That didn't improve my mood. My phone buzzed when a photo appeared on the media page showing Jennifer dancing very closely with Jenkins earlier in the party. Attached to the photo were the tags, "Bosses, close call." This sparked an avalanche of other photos. In the first one, they are talking close together, and Jennifer looks up with a slightly fascinated look. In another, she's touching his arm, and in yet another, his hand is resting on her lower, very back. The last picture looked like they were about to kiss. I was shocked. I hadn't noticed this before our conversation. If I had any lingering doubts about her intentions, they had evaporated. The tags adjacent to the images became more and more explicit. Unfaithful, are cheating, are cheaters. Kissing her during work hours. Dump her. I did my best to drown out my feelings with alcohol. At one point, I threw my wedding ring in the urinal and Dan and I peed on it. We laughed, managing to make a short video without showing anything extra. That post got 400 likes, which is pretty good since the firm only has 300 people. I realized we could get in trouble, but I really didn't care. That's when I got the biggest surprise of the night. Jennifer came back into the room. She had been booed by those still left at the party. She was furious and stomped toward me. I remember thinking that her face didn't match her beautiful dress. She screamed at me, asking what I was doing. "Hanging out," was my gleefully enlightened reply. She demanded that I stop posting anything about her. "Okay, well, are you going to tell everyone else to stop too?" Jennifer looked around, shocked that all eyes were on her, but determined to get her way. "Now this will stop. Outside clients can see these posts. And now, it's a disciplinary issue." Dan, my trusty assistant, stepped into the conversation. "What are you going to do? Fire the entire production team? We're the only ones doing anything. Anyway, aren't you going to be busy with the chief philanthropist? Where is he, by the way? If it's so important, shouldn't he be here demonstrating his outstanding leadership skills?" I didn't think Jennifer could blush anymore, but it turns out I was wrong. Maybe purple, maybe a shade of burgundy. For once, she seemed at a loss for words, so it was a good time for me to share. "Look, Jennifer, you didn't come and apologize. You didn't say it was all a huge mistake, and you didn't apologize. You just showed up and started threatening my friends. After our last conversation, I saw those pictures. I didn't realize I was married to such a cheap cheater, so why don't you just leave back to your lover? Tell him that if he wants to fire me, I'd be happy to discuss the matter outside." The crowd buzzed approvingly, and I got a round of applause for the first time in my life. It was agonizing for Jennifer. Her professional image meant so much to her. I saw tears come to my eyes, but hats off to her. She stoically pulled through and recovered. "I didn't do anything, and I have nothing to apologize for." She raised her head and walked away. Damned if she still didn't manage to look elegant doing it. I got home at a very late hour, surprised to see Jennifer in our marital bed. I had enough sense to make it to the spare room before I passed out. The hangover the next day was epic. Thankfully, Jennifer was long gone. Tea, pills, and water made me feel only slightly better. Even though it was Saturday, I received a message from the company secretary to report to work at 1 o'clock. I expected Jenkins and possibly Jennifer to be there, waiting to fire me. I decided to go, hoping I could avoid repercussions for my friends. To my surprise, I was greeted by the owner of the company and current chairman of the board of directors, Alan Roberts. I wasn't sure if that was better or worse, but he was a tough, no-nonsense guy. He explained that the CEO and Jennifer had informed him of the situation and that the media page had been removed. He said it was a very serious situation and the firm had gotten a bad reputation. He gave me a hard look. Anyone who posted anything inappropriate would be disciplined. I started to object, but he raised his hand to silence me, explaining, "This will be a verbal warning." I tried to quickly weigh things up, realizing that verbal warnings are nothing. Thanking them, I said that they were just being supportive and were really good friends. I waited with trepidation for him to fire me. "So consider this your verbal warning." "Okay," I replied brilliantly. "Nothing else?" I asked uncertainly. He smiled, and it was unsettling. "There's something else." Damn, I knew it was too good to be true. Before I could guess what that something might be, he continued. The executive director was fired for gross misconduct and damaging the firm's reputation. I was stunned. Wasn't I the reason everyone, including the clients, found out about this? Yes, I did, but I viewed it as a clear provocation. In any case, it won't bother customers. They are driven by price, not by some social media chatter. I'm afraid the misconduct was caused by him and your wife. I have never tolerated such behavior in my company. You should know that it wasn't just about the photos. Other executives were uncomfortable with how close they were getting. Either way, I don't like the guy, and I made a huge mistake hiring him. I mean, the execs get a separate party and rub it in that they're special. What kind of crap is that? And that's before I even found out about his less than impressive business decisions and the fact that he was spending company money on personal gifts. He continued, "More importantly, did you talk to her?" I shook my head. "I did this morning, and I think it's only now dawning on her how wrong her actions were. It's up to you, but perhaps you should talk to her. She's suspended, and there's a chance she'll be fired. I need to do some more digging first. Maybe she'll make a counterclaim and blame it on Jenkins." Jennifer was in the lobby when I left, and I sat down next to her on one of the couches in the reception area. "What now?" I asked, sharp as a rapier. And I heard some sort of response but couldn't make out what she said. Another muffled sound and then almost a whisper. "I'm sorry." "For what, Jennifer?" "Sorry for your behavior, sorry for the affair, sorry for what exactly?" She blushed and burst into tears. "I didn't sleep with him. There was no affair. It was only when I saw those pictures when I was sober that I realized how bad it looked. And when I saw what you did with your wedding ring, I was ashamed. Let's see, you spent all day with it. He thought he could buy you an expensive necklace. You ignored me, you danced, you touched him, and you left with him. And you planned to spend the night with him, but expect me to believe it was all innocent. You must really think I'm an idiot?" "No, it wasn't." "But you planned it, didn't you?" "No, yeah, I don't know. I guess I thought about it. The after-dinner drinks didn't help. I was drawn to him, but I tried to resist. There's a certain charm about him, and it all seemed natural. It wasn't a conscious decision to do anything. It just happened." "So it was the media reports that stopped you? Did they get you out of his bed?" "What, no. We weren't in bed, we were still in the living room. The others left, but then we got a call from the manager who was monitoring the media to make sure there was nothing outrageous from the party. We saw the messages but expected it to stop, but it just kept getting worse. We started to panic, and then I saw the video of your ring, and that's when I came back. Hell, saved by Facebook at the very last minute. That's a first. What were you doing alone with him at the time?" "Mostly talking, maybe touching each other a little bit. We kissed. But that's it, I assure you." She said it like it was a victory statement. "If that's what you're admitting, I'm willing to bet there was more than that. And I doubt that night was the first time you two got close. Small comments, flirting, Probably dinners over the course of a few weeks. She shrugged in response. I know it's so silly. I just got caught up in the whole thing. The thing is, Jennifer, in all your explanations, you never once mentioned me, just you and him. It's like I've been completely forgotten and pushed aside. I think you're trying to change. Maybe you think you're better than me now, that you're the director. If that's the case, then you should have talked to me and we could move on amicably. But I don't want to move on. It's not about me being better, and it's not about you. It's just a stupid mistake. I looked at her and remembered the box in my pocket. I pulled it out, opened it, and held out the necklace to Jennifer. I was going to give it to you at the party, but I didn't get the chance, and you had already accepted a more expensive and shiny one. She burst into tears, but I continued. Maybe you're telling the truth. Maybe you're not. Maybe you made love to him for months. I'll never know, and that's because I can't trust you. You can't be in a marriage without trust. What? It can't be right? I didn't even sleep with him. Yeah, but not because you didn't try, Jen. Certainly not because you didn't try. Please, Bill. It's all a terrible mistake. I could lose my job, and I've never felt as awkward as I did at the party. Yeah, I feel the same way. I've never been so embarrassed of my wife. I thought I might lose my job, and I'm sure you're a terrible mistake. With nothing more to say, I got up and left her crying on the couch. As I left, a sense of dread gripped me. Where will you go now? Christmas music didn't help as I left the building, the season of fucking joy. Just then I got a text from Dan that he had tickets to the New Year's Eve party and I was going... No excuses. I managed a faint smile. I really did have good friends and life went on. I just needed a plan to drink less at the party, but, as they say, no plan survives the first encounter with the enemy. 12 months later. I dreaded this moment. It was a Christmas party and 12 months on from the worst night of my life. At least I felt different. The party was at a local bar, no costumes were required, drinks were free, everyone mingled together, including Alan Roberts, who had never looked happier since returning as chief executive after last year's fiasco. And then I saw her. She looked stunning in a blue satin evening dress and stiletto shoes. I managed to catch her eye and get a radiant smile in return. She moved towards me and we kissed briefly in greeting. We finished the kiss, and the taunts of former co-workers rang in our ears, as always, led by Dan, the protagonist. I laughed, breaking the kiss. Well, who would have thought accountants could look so good? She replied, The same goes for you production people. I'm surprised you washed all the grease and dirt off your hands. I guess you had to do it. The accountant in question was Diane, a pretty red-headed girl in the payroll department whom I had met at the previous Christmas party. We had been dating for 4 months. Funny how life can turn around if you can get through the tough times. I was now the production manager and a board member. This was after we had a tough year dealing with breakdowns and a previous lack of investment in replacement and maintenance. The guys worked really hard and we managed to fulfill orders. Frankly, we were in our element, responding effectively to every crisis. Alan Roberts was also in the thick of things, discussing what we could offer. Alas, I didn't join Jennifer on the board. She suffered the ignominy of being demoted to HR advisor and left the firm a couple of months later. We divorced 6 months ago. At first, she couldn't believe I wouldn't forgive her. But when she realized I wasn't going to change my mind, things went pretty peacefully. It's amazing that you can get divorced online now. Anyway, enough about that. That was the story. It's important to learn from it and move on. So let's get back to making this the best Christmas party ever. The end.